Hi everyone, my name is Cora and this is my Crimes Across Borders series. Today we are diving into a truly heartbreaking and complicated case that captured the attention of Poland for many years. We're going to be talking about the mysterious disappearance and tragic death of Ewa Tylman. This case is full of legal drama. It has many unanswered questions. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, settle in, and let's get into it. 26 years old, Ewa Tylman had recently moved to Poznań from a smaller city of Konin. She was living with her boyfriend of 4 years, Adam, who was an officer for the Internal Security Agency. Ewa worked at a drugstore chain, and at first she started as a cashier, but thanks to her hard work, she was promoted to an assistant manager. Although she was living in Poznań for only a few months, she was loving her new life in the big city. Since her student years, Ewa was always very sociable and outgoing. She always loved a good party. Her boyfriend of 4 years was complete opposite. For him, a good night was a takeaway, staying home, and video games. Despite these differences, the couple didn't seem to have any issues with this, and Adam was known to often bring Ewa to the parties or pick her up afterwards. On Sunday, November 22, 2015, Ewa returned to Poznań by train after spending the weekend with her family in her hometown. She called her dad, letting him know that she returned home safely, and she began getting ready for a team building event that was supposed to take place that evening. Shortly after 9 p.m., her boyfriend Adam dropped her off at the bowling alley where the event was supposed to take place. And from now on, I will refer to the boyfriend as just boyfriend because there's another key figure that shares the same name. The team had a great time enjoying beers and pizza and, of course, bowling. And after the event wrapped up, most of them decided to continue the night in a nearby bar. Among them, Ewa and Adam. Adam was a co-worker of Ewa. He worked at the same drugstore chain as Ewa at first as a cashier, and then I think they were moved to different stores, but they became really close friends. So he wasn't just another co-worker. He was a close friend of Ewa. They were known to communicate outside working hours and calling each other a lot, and in general, just being good friends. Footage from the bar shows them being very affectionate with each other, with lots of touching and hugging. So at first glance, it might seem like maybe there was something more than just simple friendship, but it's worth noting that Adam behaved in a similar way with other women as well. And none of them seemed to mind, likely because Adam was in a relationship with another man. Once the group left the bar, most of them had called it a night, but there were still few ready to keep the party going. Among them, still Ewa and Adam. They decided to go to a nearby club, and at this point, the whole group seemed visibly drunk. They left the club around 2:16 and they were captured by the surveillance camera at the entrance. As you can see in the footage, Ewa seems extremely intoxicated. Her friends testified that they have never seen her that drunk. It's worth noting that some of them actually testified later on as well that most of them felt strange after drinking that night, and some even suggested that they were thinking that maybe their drinks were spiked. As you can see on the footage, Ewa is stumbling and she falls over. She pulls Adam with her. They lie on the floor for a few minutes before they get up. So at first, it was suggested that Ewa and Adam went out looking for a bus stop or a tram stop to get back home. Ewa lived almost an hour away on foot, and Adam lived in a similar general direction, but not exactly on the way. However, the surveillance footage tells a different story. Neither of them seems to be actually looking for a stop, and they actually even pass some of the bus stops without stopping. It doesn't seem like they're trying to get a taxi either, which is weird because all of the people that knew Ewa say that this is really out of character for her not to take a taxi home, especially when drunk. She would always take taxis. She was known to even take a taxi back to her home city, which was about an hour away. She was a very comfortable person, as her friends say. And on top of this, she also had her boyfriend that she could call and ask him to pick her up. She knew he's at home. Even if he was playing video games, it would still be possible to, just get in the car and come to pick her up, especially considering the state she was in. You can see on the videos, she seems like she's barely walking at this point. Eva's boyfriend was at home that night and he was playing video games with his friend. It was said that they finished just after 2 a.m. So he would normally be available to pick Ewa up. He said that he didn't, and he didn't even think about it because Ewa specifically told him that she will take a taxi back home tonight. So the fact that Ewa didn't take a taxi seems strange to everyone. Investigators said that her phone didn't have battery at this point. But then Adam also had his phone. They could use his phone to make a phone call. They could go back to the club. Later, it was also revealed that Adam actually did try to call the boyfriend of Ewa one time. He called the person asking to come pick up your girlfriend, but it turned out it was a wrong number, so he called a complete stranger. And this person testified later on, saying that Adam seemed sober. He spoke normally on the phone. Obviously, it doesn't mean that you weren't drunk. Some people are still able to express themselves well. In any case, Adam didn't try to call another number again. I don't know if the phone number was very similar and it was like a one digit that was mistaken. If Ewa couldn't remember the phone number of her boyfriend because she was drunk. But yeah, there was only this one phone call and he didn't try to call for the boyfriend again. Investigators analyzed over 100 hours of surveillance footage, tracing the movement of Ewa and Adam from the bowling alley to the club and later on towards the bridge area. In the final clear footage, Adam is holding Ewa tightly, supporting her as they walk along the pavement. It seems like she wouldn't be able to walk without his help, or perhaps she didn't want to walk. Her jacket is hanging off her shoulders with the hood hanging down, and her walk looks very unsteady. There's a witness who passed just after them. That person who testified in court, he said that he asked them if they need any help, but they seemed drunk, but okay. They said they're fine. After this footage, Ewa is no longer clearly seen. There's more surveillance footage from a nearby hotel, but it's very low quality. You could just see two dots moving in the background. The police thinks that is Adam and Ewa. At this point, they do not walk together anymore. The first dot that is thought to be Ewa is walking a little bit ahead, and after her, there's Adam following at a distance. They enter the bridge area and disappear for a while. At around 3:25, we can again see the dots reappear. At first, there's one little dot going off the bridge and disappearing into one of the side streets. And literally just 6 minutes later, another dot is also going off the bridge, disappearing in the other direction than the first one. So at first we can't see if the second dot is Adam, but eventually he gets into the view of other cameras at the gas station, and you can clearly see it's Adam. He doesn't seem to be drunk at this point anymore. He kind of walks normally. He speaks on the phone, walking around the gas station. He's not in a hurry to get home. Later on, it was revealed that he called his boyfriend and he called his sister. His story is that he called them because he doesn't know the city very well and he was lost. He was kind of asking for directions. The people that see him at the gas station, the two girls that were working inside the gas station, they said that he didn't seem drunk either. Obviously, this is just someone's perception. They didn't even speak with him. So it does not mean he was not drunk. It just means that to other people, he did not seem drunk. The way he walks on the camera is as well not the same way he was walking moments before. He's not stumbling, he's just walking quite dynamically straight, just like a normal person would walk during the day. Those video compilations were the critical evidence in the investigations of Ewa's disappearance. To be fair, it was the only evidence they had. There wasn't a lot to go on. Authorities decided that The two dots we see at first going towards the bridge is definitely Ewa, and then just after her Adam. And as for the dots coming back of the bridge, the second one is confirmed as Adam, is confirmed by the later surveillance footage. And the first one, it's kind of left alone. I'm not sure why no one speaks about it more, but no one is really touching this topic. Obviously, it's hard to confirm because it's literally just like a little shadow dot. But yeah, this part is just left alone both by the defense really and the prosecution. So the bridge is this big gray area where we know something happened, but no one knows what. There's no surveillance footage from there, and there's about 6 minutes of the time between the moment Adam kind of arrived there and when we see him again. And so during those 6 minutes, something must have happened, unless the two dots that were going into that direction, or at least the first one, wasn't Ewa. That would mean that something happened to her even earlier. The thing is, the authorities are not even speculating about it at all. They assumed that for sure it's Ewa who goes towards the bridge. Ewa's boyfriend is not too alarmed in the morning that she didn't come back home. He thinks that she probably drank too much and decided to stay over with one of her girlfriends. He tries to contact her, but her phone is off. He's still not panicking, but eventually he realizes that she was not at work, she's not coming home, no one knows where she is, and none of her co-workers know what happened. When questioned, Adam at work, he says to his co-workers that he doesn't know what could happen to Ewa, where she is. And apparently he even said to one of the co-workers that he doesn't really remember the last night and he's a bit worried that he maybe did something. Around 5 p.m., Ewa's boyfriend officially reports her to the police as a missing person. And for once, police acted immediately. Very quickly, Ewa's face started to appear on the news and on the posters throughout the city. A lot of people were questioned. Some of them were actually coming on their own accord. Some of them were found through the surveillance footage. Of course, all the friends and co-workers were questioned as well, but no one actually knew what happened to Ewa or where she could be. One of the witnesses that came forward by herself was a woman who, on the night of Ewa's disappearance, was going to work around 5 in the morning. She was waiting at the tram stop and she noticed someone's ID just lying on the tracks, so she picked it up. When Adam was asked about the ID, he had no answers about this. The police assumed it was him who took it and just threw it out there. No idea why, but it was in the area where once Adam left and was going towards his home, it was the area he was in. Initially, Adam received a lot of support from the people around him, his company even paying for a psychologist to come and see him. But it slowly started to change. He was receiving a lot of threats. People at work were blaming him. How could he not help Ewa get home safely when she was so drunk? Why would he leave her? Some people started openly blaming him for what happened to Ewa and saying he did something. It got so bad that at some point the police actually offered him a safe house and he took it. He was scared because everyone was blaming him. So around this time, I think it was when he was in the safe house with some security officers, Adam apparently Adam confessed that he actually did something to Ewa. He said that they were arguing and he pushed her by accident and she fell off the bridge and seemed to be unresponsive. So he went in to the riverbank, dragged her and threw her in the water. This wasn't during the official interrogation, it wasn't noted, and the detectives were only told about it when the officers that were in the room with him when it happened made their reports. So unfortunately, this had no legal meaning, and Adam retracted that statement completely. He said that he doesn't really know what he was saying, that he was under a lot of stress, he was scared. He said that the officers were making a lot of fun of him for the fact that he is homosexual, that they were forcing him to say that he did hurt Ewa. So this didn't have any legal meaning, but it still made the police and everyone else look at Adam as a main suspect. The police decided to conduct an experiment, multiple experiments. I think they were done during the day and during the night, and they were trying to recreate the walk Adam made with Ewa in the final moments we can see on the camera. So they go to the bridge, they were measuring the time, how much time it would take the officers, the stand-in officers that had very similar physiques to Ewa and to Adam. They were using like a dummy mannequin to pretend that Adam is throwing and dragging the body and then throwing in the water. And in each of the tests, the time didn't align. I think Adam had about 5 minutes something to do something, to either push her in the water or drag her, or whatever he was describing at the time. The 3 officers that tried to do it, I think the best time was about 6 minutes, still about a minute longer than the allowed time. And the other one had 7 and almost 8 minutes. And Adam wasn't much bigger than Ewa. He was, I think at the time of the event, he was only 58 kilograms. He wasn't very athletic. So if he was actually even a bit drunk, even with the rush of adrenaline, it would be really hard to move an unconscious body, throw it in the water. There was quite a bit of space where he would have to drag it. It's not like the bridge and you just push over someone. There was the whole riverbank. It was very steep. You would have to go down, drag the body. At the time, the water in the river was pretty low as well, and there were some rocks on the side. So the investigators said that he would actually, for the body to be taken by the current, as he described it, he would actually have to go in the water, and he would be wet. And on the cameras later on, we can see that he's not wet. And the time doesn't align as well. So you would think that this would make investigators start looking in the other way, but actually it was the complete opposite. Despite the fact that none of the officers could achieve those 5 minutes, the leading detective still decided to arrest Adam during one of those experiments. Obviously, the experiments weren't only about the timing. The detectives were closely watching Adam, everything he was saying, how he was behaving. And based on this, they decided that his stories don't align and he should be arrested. Another version of events that presented by Adam was that Ewa started running away from him towards the river, down the riverbank on a very steep stairs, and then when she was at the bottom, she slipped and she fell in the water. He did not help her get out of the water. He could see her being taken by the current. He said she looked unconscious, and he didn't try to help her because he doesn't know how to swim very well. He panicked, he was scared, he left. This version of events, the prosecution really doesn't like it. They're saying he says that only because the defense told him it's better to be charged with not helping someone. Even if that person died, you would get maybe 5 years versus actual murder or manslaughter. But they also still tested this version, and even with this version of events, things didn't line up. It seemed very difficult for someone to run down those steep stairs, and even if she slipped at the bottom, the water was fairly low. So yeah, all the low things from all the stories being told by all sides, there was always something that did not line up. After Ewa's disappearance, a few other strange developments happened. First of all, someone contacted the family saying they have Ewa and requesting a ransom of 100,000 euros. Eventually it was disproven. It turned out to be a scam, just adding into more heartbreak for the family. Another twist after this was a woman who claimed to the police that she'd seen Adam on the bridge throwing something big and heavy in the water. And once she was interrogated by the police, she said that she actually lied. And obviously there was an investigation into this. And once she was arrested, she was trialed. And I think they gave her time in prison for this as well. She said that she was paid to do it by one of the agents from the detective agency working for the parents. Now, this detective agency is exactly the same one that was involved in the two other cases that I already covered about Magdalena Żuk and Iwona Wieczorek. It's exactly the same agency with the same self-proclaimed detective. Now, this agent and the main detective were also both arrested. There was investigation, they were trialed. I think they managed to get out of it. I think they accused the police that it was the police who actually told this woman to do it. And then this woman confirmed that, oh, yes, actually, it was the police. So there was this whole drama with this, adding into all the heartbreak. And it was already such a difficult times for Ewa's family. And then all of this was happening. And yet somehow I'm not surprised, because every time that detective agency is involved, there is something like this happening. It wasn't even the only thing that happened, but there's a lot of things with them that is not even worth mentioning, because I really don't want to talk about them. There was also an investigative journalist that claimed that he has an informant that says that I was actually kidnapped by some dangerous group of people, and Adam had no choice but to bring her to them. He was supposed to get her into that direction, and that's where they kidnapped her. I would kind of tie in with that shot of the van passing around that time through the bridge as well. Obviously, that was never confirmed. That informant is anonymous. I'm not even 100% sure if the police got to him or if it was something that this journalist had and no one else had access to this person. In any case, it's been mentioned a little bit during the trial, but neither the prosecutors or the defense really got into it. So I don't think neither parties had any reliable proof to this. So not all of the footage was released at the same time. So those things kind of progressed slowly. And at some point, I think in January, the footage of Adam and Ewa at the square when they sit on a bench was released to the public. And people started talking about the fact that it really looks like there are some bag, like an overnight bag next to Ewa. That was the same footage where she seemed to be using the phone. Now, when they get up off the bench, neither of them is carrying those bags, and you can see that they are not on the bench. So you would think, okay, like it's just a trick, some shadow, nothing to it. But people started speculating that perhaps the footage was actually manipulated somehow. And some people started coming forward saying that the relationship between Ewa and her boyfriend wasn't so perfect as everyone was portraying it at first. They were saying that they had very different lifestyles, and she didn't approve of his job. He, as I mentioned before, he was an agent for Agency of Internal Affairs. It's like a Polish version of FBI and Homeland Security. She really didn't like it. There was even a thing about their flat. They were supposed to live in Poznań in a flat that was given to them by her boyfriend's work, and it would be just available to them. And she hated this idea so much that they decided not to take that flat and actually rent privately. Obviously, she had a specific lifestyle as well, and people were saying that he was actually extremely jealous. He didn't like it at all, that she's going out so much, that she's drinking so much. It's hard to say what goes behind closed doors. I would just like to add that the alibi of the boyfriend was never properly checked. They just took his word for it, that he was home with a friend, and that's it. And the flat, their shared flat, was searched after a few months. Not at the beginning, it was like after a few months it was searched, not very properly, and they discovered that her PC has been wiped. So for me, it's such a red flag. It's an extreme red flag, especially considering the boyfriend's job. But no one went into that direction. I think except this investigative journalist. He is no longer alive, so he didn't manage to resolve that case in any way. I was the only person that was looking at some other leads. Police kind of concentrated on Adam, and all they wanted to do is prove that he would be able to somehow do something to Ewa at the bridge. Amidst all these suspicions and unanswered questions, the investigation continued with no clear resolution. And then in July, approximately 8 months after Ewa's disappearance, a shocking discovery was made. Her body was found in the river about 12 kilometers from where she was last seen. This finding only deepened the mystery surrounding her disappearance, raising again more questions than answers. The initial confirmation of the body's identity was based on the items found with it, and later a DNA test confirmed he was indeed Ewa Tylman. Unfortunately, the autopsy couldn't determine the exact cause of death. However, it was suggested that Ewa was likely still alive when she entered the water. It was also theorized that her body may have been buried under the sand from a nearby sand pit, and the current eventually carried it to the location where it was discovered. The first trial began in 2017, but 2 years later, the court issued a verdict acquitting Adam. And the court justified this decision by stating that Adam did not have the opportunity to commit the murder during the time frame established by the investigators, which was just over 5 minutes. The judge ruled that what happened near the river could have been just a very unfortunate accident, and that Adam should only be charged for failing to help. Both the prosecution and Ewa Tylman's family appealed this decision. In January 2020, the Court of Appeal in Poznań overturned the verdict and sent the case back for a new trial. The retrial started in March 2021, and in May 2022, the District Court in Poznań acquitted Adam again. And the prosecution appealed this decision, asking for it to be cancelled and for the case to be retried one more time. And of course, Ewa's father also appealed. In December 2023, the Court of Appeal annulled the district court's ruling and sent the case back for reconsideration by the original court. So by this point, it's all about the legal drama, with both the prosecution and the defense focused solely on Adam without considering any other possible leads. There was another twist during the trial. At some point, they presented a piece of evidence from an undisclosed source that revealed 3 phone numbers that exchange messages about Ewa. One of the individuals in the conversation expressed concern, saying they were scared they will end up like Ewa, taken care of by someone. Meanwhile, Adam continued to claim his innocence, but he never really offered any answers to what really happened that night. And the investigation into how he was treated by the police came to light as well. Adam alleged he was pressured and coerced into making confessions he later retracted, but no one really seemed to explore any other possibilities. It's also important to note that the investigators never fully confirmed the boyfriend's alibi, and the apartment where they lived wasn't even searched for months. But despite this, very few people, aside from some investigative journalists, are raising questions about other potential explanations for what could have happened to Ewa. So what do you think about this case? Did Adam really harm Ewa, or was it some kind of tragic accident that just spiraled out of control? The prosecution couldn't figure out a clear motive for him to hurt her, which leaves room for doubt. But what if they missed something and maybe someone else was involved entirely? There's another interesting theory. The big white van that was seen passing the bridge around the time Adam and Ewa were there. Could it be that someone else took Ewa? But then the big question is, why would they do this? And was Adam still involved in it somehow, directly or indirectly? Curious to hear your thoughts about this. It is a case that raises more questions than answers, and it seems like it will remain a mystery unless something new comes to light. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Adam is guilty, or do you believe there's more to this story? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to stay updated on this case and other intriguing stories. And in the meantime, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.